basically what situational leadership has taught me is how to understand either a new employee's cycle from going brand new to becoming a veteran within your organization, or let's say a super impactful, super committed kind of employee, but you can also apply it to a customer base too. So I'll talk about it a little bit from the employee perspective, and then we can go through a sale, a customer side if we want to. But the idea is like, for example, we just hired a brand new employee. He started with us on Monday. Dude's super excited, right? He's here. He's got high energy. He loves what we're working on. He loves the concept of what he decided to join into, but he has zero competence around what we're doing. He brings skills to the table from an engineering perspective, and that's really, really good for us because we're going to gain some nice outside perspective and things that we might not have thought about. But when it comes to our specific area, his competence level is zero, right? So, or just above zero, let's just say. So if competence is low and commitment is high, what you need to understand is you need to offer them a different level of leadership than someone who's been here for maybe 2-3 years and their competence is high and their commitment's high. So if you think about an XY axis, and the X-axis being more directive leadership and the Y-axis being more supportive leadership, you can think about how these 4 boxes, or let's call them quadrants, work. So on the more directive right side, but low on the supportive, you have this S1, what they call it. That's a high commitment, low competence person. And a high commitment, low competence person, you need to hold their hand. You need to show them step by step what they need to do. This is the processes you need to use. This is the program. This is how it works. And that's fine, right? You need to understand that's how you need to lead this person at that time. Once you get them out of an S1, you're still in that high directive support, or it's directive leadership side, but now you move up into what's called S2. So you need both high directive and high supportive leadership. And the idea around that is now that person went from high commitment, low competence to low commitment, low competence. And this is the challenging spot for most employees or customers, if you think about it. But what happens here is the honeymoon phase is over. The excitement of a new job is over. The excitement of meeting all these new people is over. And what's happening is they still don't know exactly what they're supposed to be working towards and on. They're getting it a little bit, but they're not there yet. And because their honeymoon is over, their commitment is now down. So a person that's in that S2 quadrant needs a lot of directions. You still need to hold hands. You still need to walk them through the processes, but you need to coach them, right? So the first one is S1 is basically step-by-step instructions. S2 is step-by-step instructions with an understanding of why are we doing this? What is the outcome going to be? What are the expectations if you perform these steps this way? So it's still high hand-holding, but now you're acting like a good coach. So think back in your life of the good coaches you had around you. They're coaching you over the challenging situations. They know your outcome is going to be in this situation, or let's just say this end result. And they know you don't see it yet, but they know they're going to work you through to get you to that spot. So a good coach is one that can see your outcome and help you get there, but help you understand how to overcome the challenges to get to that spot. So once you move out of S2, which is that top right quadrant of the thing, high directive, high supportive, you go to S3, and S3 is still high supportive, but now your directive leadership goes down. And the point there is now the person's competent is starting to go up, because what you do to get someone out of S2 into S3 is you start to get them little wins. You help them, with a project, you let them do a little bit of it and you let them complete and get a win there. And now you're building their confidence up, which means you're building their competence up within the project or their job. Now, the challenge there is their competence is starting to grow, but their commitment is variable. And the reason it's variable is because they're nervous about making a decision if it means something for what the outcome of the business should be, or the direction, or maybe they're nervous about putting a marketing plan together because they don't want to screw something up based on the legacy of the organization. So when you go out of this coaching role, you go now into this top left quadrant, S3, and what that really is it's more of a supportive role. So you're giving them guidance towards how to complete stuff. You're giving them direction about what the expectation should be and what the outcome should look like, and understanding them or helping them understand a little bit of how that works, but you're not doing the tasks for them. You're not making all the decisions. You're saying, this is where we want to go. This is what the process should look like. Put some stuff together. Let's come back. Let's talk about it. Let's review, and then let's implement to it. Right. So then when you get someone from an S3, to an S4, which is the bottom left quadrant, low support, low directive, now you're basically sitting there, all you're doing is you're delegating, right? So that's where we all want to get to as a leader. We want to get people onto our team. We want to get them across this threshold to a point where they can be self-sufficient because they understand the mission, they're competent in their tasks, they're committed to the organization, and they're driving basically what the mission of the business is. And what you're saying as the leader, it's like, hey, this is the scenario right now. I have this customer. We need to have this result happen, and I need you to make sure it happens by Friday. And now you can say, can you please go accomplish this and come back and just let me know it's done. So if you understand and break down to, and if anybody's around and you want to just Google it, it's called situational leadership. And it's about going from a directing through coaching into supporting and then into a delegating mindset as a leader. And the more you can recognize where an employee is in that quadrant, it lets you make a decision on the fly about how you need to help this person, how you need to lead this person. If you got a person who's, super strong in commitment and competence, and you're going over there holding their hand through the process, they might feel a little bit slighted because they're like, why is this person trying to do all the work for me? Do they respect me? Do they have problems? And it's, spurs this bigger issue. And then same thing on the other side, if you're looking at a new employee and you're like, hey, I need you to do this by Friday, but they have no clue how to do it, they're going to get a little bit lost. So it's giving you this ability to kind of make a snap judgment on, okay, this person's in this quadrant. Let me change the way I'm going to lead this person through their process. It's been a phenomenal tool that I've used a lot myself. I'm working to implement that through my team and get my managers a little bit more on board with how this works so that as we grow and as we're moving, like I said to you earlier, we're going to be moving into a new business and a new building, and we're going to be onboarding some new team members. And the more my team knows this, it's going to allow us to direct our energies in a much more concentrated fashion.